Hi, I'm Joy, and I would like to talk to you today about how to respond when big, deep, heavy, intense feelings come up inside. So, a lot of times when these feelings come up, they've been there for a really long time. There's a part of us that has been carrying that feeling hidden away deep inside for a very, very, very long time. A lot of times since early childhood, sometimes since we were a baby and couldn't even talk yet. And when it comes up, it's because something activates it, something brings it to the surface, or because for whatever reason it wasn't safe to look at it and to work with it in the past, but now it is safe, and that gives this part of us the opportunity to say, okay, like, can I stop dealing with this now? I've been carrying this for a really long time and it's really heavy and I would really like to stop now. Please, can we take a look at this? So, what can happen sometimes is when that part really, really, really wants our attention, it can overwhelm us with these feelings, and it can even cause us to go into freeze mode where we feel like there's something really heavy on us, or it's hard to think, hard to talk, hard to function, and we're just completely overwhelmed by the feeling. So what I would like to do is look at it in two different ways. The first way being, if it's possible to ask that part of us to make it a little bit less intense, and then how to work with this when that's an option. And the second way is if that is not an option. If there really isn't anything that we can do, we're just overwhelmed, and that's just how it is. All right. So when we get overwhelmed, sometimes it's because this part of us, or usually even, it's because this part of us really, 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 really wants this to get addressed, and is worried that if it dials down the intensity of whatever that feeling is, then we're not going to take care of it. It's just going to continue to not get addressed, and it's just going to need to keep carrying this heavy burden that it's been carrying around all this time. So, recognizing this, if we can tell that part, look, like, you have my attention. This is something I want to see here. I want to know what's going on. But I can't do that while I'm overwhelmed like this. Can you just like bring the intensity down a bit so I can interact with you? And a lot of times, this is something that works. It does get less intense. Um, I would say that if you do this, it's super, super, super important to follow through with it. Otherwise, if you break your own trust, it makes it really hard to work through things in the future if that's what's happening. Whereas if you do what you say you're going to do and follow through with it, then it builds trust in yourself. All the different parts of you, and that part in particular learns that you can trust yourself, and that's really, really important. So don't say you're going to do something and then not do it. All right. And in fact, if there's something that's coming up for you and it's not a good time to deal with it, you might even be able to say, like, look, I promise I'm going to deal with this, but I can't do it right now. But when I get home later tonight, or, whatever the case is, like, you will have my full attention. And then a lot of times that can be at least somewhat effective in, doing what you need to do in the moment and then dealing with that later. But so, so you can ask this part of you that's carrying this intense burden to step back just enough for you to be able to really see and hear and respond to whatever it's trying to communicate to you by coming up this way. And at that point, it's important, and I would say from the very beginning, anytime feelings come up, it's important, instead of like being in analysis mode and thinking like, why do I feel this way, and trying to like logic your way through it, to just be open to being surprised, to, you know, whatever comes up for you inside, you know, whatever that part of you shows you or tells you, or, you know, somehow otherwise communicates to you. It's really important to be willing to be surprised, be open, be curious, and you just see what you find. I have found a lot of things inside of me. I have no way of knowing. There's no way I could have known that that stuff was there if I hadn't been willing to be surprised and been open and curious, and, you know, just exploring. So go ahead and allow yourself to see or feel whatever this part of you is trying to tell you. And um, if you feel yourself getting judgmental or irritated or wanting to fix it, um, or anything other than just compassion, caring, and well, there's actually, I'm going to pause for a moment and okay, so I'm back with just a screen share of a website that I found. This is from a tool called IFS, and the adjectives that IFS uses. So this is like one particular tool that can be used for doing this kind of work that's very effective, I might add. Are compassion, creativity, connectedness, confidence, calm, clarity, courage, curiosity. And then there's also presence. And presence may be the main thing as far as I'm concerned, like really being present in the moment with these parts of ourselves, or anybody. Perspective, patience, playfulness, and persistence. So if you find that you're feeling anything other than these things for whatever's coming up for you, it means that there's another part involved, and bringing awareness to that, and then, you know, maybe even hearing out the concerns of that part, or, you know, letting that part know that, you know, you would like to be there for this part, and see if you can, you know, unburden whatever is there. Sometimes it's effective too. But I would say just like, don't push through any resistance. If you find resistance coming up to exploring this kind of thing, then explore the resistance. You know, take it easy, be gentle. Don't force your way through anything. um, so anyways, as you are holding space for whatever's coming up for you, you may have memories, and that's this part talking to you of something from earlier in your life, and just being there and holding that space of compassion and care, and you know, just loving and accepting this part of you, it can really go a long way. And there's a whole lot more, of course, to working with these parts, and I have a much longer video about that, which I can link in the comments. But for this, like, just short video, just hold yourself in love. Just know that this part of you has been dealing with this for a really long time, and just really needs your love and care and compassion, and just take care of yourself. And it can be helpful to even like wrap in a soft blanket, or like actually hug yourself, or something along those lines. Like whatever you feel you need, or this part tells you that you need, just go ahead and take care of yourself. So what about when we're overwhelmed and there's just no way around that? Well, okay, let me back up. There's kind of an in between. So at a certain stage in all of this, a person can be in a position to access some of these things, but not be in a position to bring in their own compassion and care and so on. And in those cases, it can be really powerful to work with somebody who can do that. So that's one option. Um, Another option would be like maybe not work with somebody, but just talk to a loved one who is capable of holding space for you. That can be another really powerful thing. And another thing that a lot of people do that I did in the beginning and found very effective, I had a hard time accessing that like loving core within myself all the time. When I first started doing this kind of work, pretty intensely. And what I was able to do is connect to Earth's energy and to the warmth and nurturing and care and lovingness of Earth, and hold myself in the space of that love. And some people do this with like spirit guides or like their ancestors, like someone in particular, or they work with like angels, or there are different archetypes as well. So you could like imagine an archetype of a loving grandmother who is just warm and accepting and compassionate and patient, and imagine this loving grandmother archetype holding you in her arms and taking care of you. So whatever you need in order to be able to connect to um, this feeling of unconditional love, uh, go ahead and do that, assuming it feels right, obviously. And that can be a really effective way to get started when you're just not feeling it for yourself. All right, so that's sort of the in-between. And then let's go into, how to handle it when you're just overwhelmed and there's nothing that you can do about it, or like you can't get it to be less overwhelming. So in those situations, it's really important to take care of yourself physically. And that can mean a day of rest. That can mean making sure that you're, eating enough protein, that you're drinking enough water, that you remove yourself from an environment that's stressful temporarily so you can just take care of yourself. Focus on soothing your nervous system. So sometimes that means like, rolling yourself up in a big soft blanket and just, putting on some soothing music and just resting. Or it could mean like watching your favorite TV show that, puts you in the right like mental space, because TV shows and music can help us regulate our nervous system. It could mean telling somebody that you are in rough shape and you could really use some attention, and maybe you need physical affection, and if that's something that's available to you, you can tell somebody like, I just really need a really big huge giant hug. You just squeeze me. So whatever you need to do to take care of your body and your nervous system, and just be really gentle with yourself. And yes, it's still important to be present with what's coming up for you. But if you feel like you're getting lost in it, and like especially if there's some kind of physical thing going on, like if you have a cold, like a bad cold, for example, or you're hungover, or you're hungry, if you have not had a proper night's sleep in like 3 days, whatever it is, just take it easy, be gentle with yourself, take care of your physical needs, and just hang in there, and it'll pass. And if it's something that feels threatening, it's a good idea to reach out for help. But, if you don't feel safe, go ahead and reach out for help. If you feel you're safe, but it is not going away sometimes. And this is a bit hard on the nervous system, but it can be very effective. Sometimes the thing to do is just go ahead and surrender to the feeling. Feel it in your body and just be fully present with it and allow yourself to feel it in all of its intensity fully. And if none of these other tools are working for you and you feel that you're safe, this can be a very effective way to handle it. So just like lay down. The first time I did this, I actually like laid down on the earth, like on the grass outside, just like face down and just let myself like fall into the void inside of me and just like feel it super fully, super intensely. And I was shaking and crying. And I think I might have scared the mailman, but like, it was really, really intense. But then after that, that feeling of emptiness, this like gnawing angst was gone. Like I didn't feel it anymore after that. So like I said, it can be a little bit hard on the nervous system compared to other methods that I just mentioned. However, it can be very effective if those other things aren't options. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. Take good care of yourselves, please. I love you all. I love me and every part of me. And it's really important to take good care of yourself, because that's how we thrive in life. That's how we show up as ourselves in the world. And that's what the world really needs from each of us. It needs each of us to be our unique selves and be as happy and healthy as we possibly can be in order to do that. But I'm not trying to say like you should do it for the world. I'm just saying like take care of yourself. That's my point. All right. Thank you for watching.